In this video today, we're going to be building some cedar shutters. Why? Because this looks way better than this. I'm Brad. This is DIY Wouldn't You? Now these are a birthday present to my wife. This was actually her idea a couple years ago, and it kind of got pushed off to the side because we had a lot of other projects going on. We had some kids, blah-de-blah. Now the construction of these is fairly simple. It's 4 boards running vertical across the width, 2 boards, 1 top and 1 bottom, to attach the 4 boards together. And then we're going to be staining these to protect them from the elements and also to give it a nice rich look and to make it coordinate with the exterior of our house. Now we love the look of our house, don't get me wrong. It's got nice stone, simulated cedar shakes on the front. However, they used a plastic green shutter, which I don't understand. We should take a moment of silence. And now, let's build some shutters and make this place look like it's supposed to. We could buy cedar shutters that look just like this. However, we're going to save a little bit of money by building them ourselves, and I'll go through a price breakdown explaining that. Now the wood that I'm building these out of is 1x4 cedar. And the supply company that I bought these from stocks 16-foot lengths in 1x4s. So what I did was, I had them cut these down into 3 pieces per 16-foot board, which equaled 3 64-inch pieces. Which then, I could lay the back seat down and fit them in the back of my Nissan Pathfinder. That way I didn't have to borrow a trailer or strap them to the roof, because that's sketchy. And that looks stupid going down the road. And that also makes it really easy when it comes to cutting the boards down, laying them out, because the shutters that we're replacing are 62.5 inches tall. So by getting these boards cut down into 3 equal pieces of 64 inches, I just trim both ends off, square them up. Now the way I'm going to be doing these is cutting them to length, cutting these cross pieces to width, routing the edges, using this handy router table. However, if you don't have a router table, you can still get a nice beveled edge. This shutter is an example of that. I put this one together for my wife so she could take a look at it and so that I could hold it up to the front of the house, make sure it was going to be the right height, that the width of the boards was going to be enough, that our cross pieces were where we wanted them to be. And also, I just bought a new palm sander and I really wanted to test it out. So, I was able to achieve a nice rounded edge on all these boards, which I really like, because leaving the edge of your board square is fine if that's what you like, but I think it just makes it look like you bought some wood, tacked it together and made some shutters out of it. And I wanted these to look like you could have gone to a store and bought them. So, I took my palm sander with some 120 grit sandpaper, I sanded the edge down. Routing's going to take less time, sure, but if you don't have a router or a router table, no big deal, use a palm sander. If you don't have a palm sander, no big deal, use sandpaper. Here at DIY Wouldn't You, we want to inspire and educate. We want to make projects entertaining and encourage you to try something fun, learn something new, and impress yourself and your friends. We want to remind people that just because you haven't done something, it doesn't mean you can't. So keep learning, keep building, keep DIYing. The first thing I'm going to do to make these shutters is cut the end off of each board and get a nice true edge. I'm going to take this 2x4 and cut it down. It's going to be a stop, so I can just run each 1x4 up against this 2x4 screwed to my workbench and have a straight cut, and each board be the same length each time. I got my 1x4 clamped to the deck of the saw, squared up with the blade. I just cut it. The 1x4 is sitting nicely against the stop, so I'll go ahead and screw the stop down to the table. So now we can cut all the rest of our boards and they'll be the same length as this one right here. Now we've got to cut these. So I'll go ahead and cut one to the length that it needs to be, which I believe is 14 inches. And then I'll set up my stop to cut the other ones the same length. There are fancier methods, but for me this works perfect. Now that I have every board cut and have the edges routed, I'm gonna glue the long boards together and clamp them so that glue can be drying. I'm gonna run some glue down them, brush the glue out, make sure that I don't have any on the front edge of the board here. And then I'm gonna lay the boards down, and I'm gonna use these bar clamps and clamp the boards together. I'm gonna be using 3 so we get nice even pressure on each end and in the middle. And then we'll let that sit and the glue harden. Also, I'm going to go ahead and put some glue on the back of these cross pieces, put them where they go because I went ahead and marked them, and then clamp them down with these nice 2-inch spring clamps. This center board here I'm not actually using on this shutter, but I'm going to go ahead and clamp it in place just to hold the center of these boards together.
As far as the difficulty level on this project right here, you're probably going to want to ask your mammy to help you because everybody knows that she's actually the one that did the Elmer's glue and popsicle stick project for you in elementary school because you couldn't stop gluing your fingers together.
Now I've got the first shutter completely done, other than stain. That's the one that I clamped up and let it sit. I've got another one in the clamps with the glue drying right now. While this one's setting up, I'm going to go ahead and just hit a couple little spots where the glue seeped through on the front edges. The stain that we're going to be using on this is a Behr product.
Time out. This is not a paid product placement for Behr paints and stains. But yo, Behr, like, if you trying to work something out, like, my email is down in the description below the video. And my people talk to your people. Okay. Anyway, back to the video then.
It's a Behr Premium wood coating. It's a semi-transparent waterproofing stain and sealer. It's our most advanced formula. 6 years on decks, 8 years on fences and siding. Now this, I would classify as siding because it's hanging on the side of the house. However, 8 years seems like a little bit of a stretch. But we'll see how it does. This is a tintable product. So you get a tint base, and then you can have whatever store you buy this from tint it for you. The color that we really liked is a Cordovan brown. I thought it was going to be a little bit of a pain only having 3 of these bar clamps, but it's actually worked out pretty well because I'm able to clamp one shutter together while I'm staining another shutter, and then while the stain's drying I can go do some other stuff, come back, unclamp this one, stain it, get the next one clamped up. And so it actually works pretty well. Even though I glued the cross pieces on, I'm going to be using 1-inch long stainless steel wood screws through the backside just to lock everything tighter together. I looked these shutters up online. The closest ones that I could find were about $400 for a pair. That's 2 shutters. Now there may be some cheaper, but for the style with the 2 slats going across and the 4 verticals, the price that I saw was $400 a pair, or $200 a shutter. These, all the wood, cost me about $200. The stain cost me $16. The sponge brushes cost me $4. And then time. I'm not counting time in this because it's my time. Let's say $220. Divide that by 3 because there's 3 windows, and you get $73 a window, or a pair, 2 shutters. Divided by 2 equals about $36 a shutter. For nice stained cedar shutters, when you buy them from the store, they're going to cost you about $200, and that's untreated. And then you have to put whatever stain on it you want. So we've got a savings of about $140 per shutter. That's good in my book. We got shutters. We got shutters all over this place drying. We got 2 coats of stain on all the shutters, all 6 of them. So I'm gonna let them dry and cure for the night, and hopefully tomorrow we'll be able to get them all mounted. On the front of our house, we've got simulated cedar shakes and manufactured stone. Now, I see the stone being the difficult one as far as getting the screws out, getting them back in. So we're going to start with the shutters on the cedar shake siding. I'm going to lay the old shutter on top of the new shutter and mark my screw holes so that they're in the same spot. Now, these cross pieces are not going to line up from the old one to the new one, but that's okay. And where this old shutter has a cross piece across the middle, I'm just going to put some caulk in those screw holes so that nothing gets in there. There are some anchors in the wall here, so I'm going to attempt to hit those anchors and we'll see how it goes. So that was actually super easy. The screw holes lined up just right, the anchors were just deep enough, and the stone gives the wall a little bit of a texture, so the shutter stands off just right. Well, the shutters are done. Sometimes your birthday present comes a month late. I gotta work on that. Anyway, my wife's super happy with how the shutters turned out. They were really easy to install. Building them actually took a little bit longer than I was expecting, but that's alright, they turned out awesome. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more fun projects that we're working on, subscribe to the channel. I'm Brad, this is DIY Wouldn't You. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. I couldn't tell you why.
You're probably gonna want to ask your mama mammy to help you with this one.
No. I would love to see you back. Go hug somebody you love.